What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I will be reviewing yet another beer from Lawson's Finest Liquids, and they're out of Waitsfield, Vermont, and this is their Fayston Maple Imperial Stout. So this is an Imperial Stout that is brewed with Vermont maple syrup, comes in at 10.1% alcohol by volume, no IBUs listed in the time of review. This can is exactly 3 weeks old. So this beer I've been wanting to try for a very long time. I mentioned in my SIPA Sunshine review from Lawson's back in the summer that, going back 5+ years ago, Lawson's was one of those breweries that was super hyped, and a lot of people were getting their hands on SIPA Sunshine, Double Sunshine, and specifically for me, this beer. When I first heard about it, I was like, man, that sounds delicious. I want to try it at some point, and never got my hands on it. And then Lawson started getting distribution into the West New York area a couple years ago, and lo and behold, a lot of their beers are now showing up ever since they opened that Waitsfield Brewery. And so I'm super pumped to give this a go. Like I said, Imperial Stout, they're using Vermont maple syrup. On the back here it says our Imperial Stout is brewed with loads of roasted and black malts and a hefty dose of Vermont maple syrup. The result is a rich and complex beer, perfect for sipping or pairing with chocolate or dessert. So anyway, let's crack this one open. It's been out of the fridge for about 45 minutes, probably closer to an hour. So proper drinking temperature, I would imagine. Yeah. Oh man, that's super. That looks, wow, like motor oil. I mean, I say that a lot, but man, that is super viscous. Holy crap. Maybe one of the thicker pouring beers that I have had on the channel recently. Wow. Looks awesome. So in the glass, when I was pouring it, pitch black. Straight on pitch black. There's nothing more to say. Has about a half finger of this really creamy looking mocha colored head. Little bubbles, big bubbles, but it looks super creamy, kind of like a hot chocolate kind of head to it. Lots of alcohol legs on the glass. Yeah, looks awesome. Let's get a nose. Oh, so it's like an unrefined maple syrup. It's like a maple syrup without the sweetness kind of on the nose. I'm getting the maple, but not the sweetness. Tons of roasted malt, coffee, like a baker's chocolate, like a 50-60% cacao bar. A touch of a black cherry dark fruit component as well. Molasses, a little bit of molasses. Ooh, it smells really nice. Be honest with you, I thought there would be more of like a maple kick to this one. What I'm getting is unrefined maple as opposed to like a sweet maple. More often than not, when I get that in the nose, a lot of times when it translates into the taste, it's more of a sweet maple. I'm hoping that is the case here because I've been waiting a long time to try this one, and I want to say I'm hoping for a maple explosion, but when it's called Fayston Maple Imperial Stout, they're using Vermont maple syrup. I'm just assuming there's going to be a decent amount of maple. So let's get into it, everybody. Cheers. First things first, this is a great base Imperial Stout. I'll tell you right now, the base to this beer is fantastic. That said, for my palate, definitely more of like an unrefined maple syrup. The body on this one is like low to medium full body. It's proper for 10.1%. It's not straight full, but it's close and really enhances the enjoyment level for this one for me. Thick, viscous, not necessarily chewy, but has a nice thickness to it. The mouthfeel, soft, smooth. There's carbonation, a little bit of creaminess there. But I'd say just body mouthfeel, pretty fantastic. The taste, though, a fantastic Imperial Stout. Like I said, loads of roasted malt. They said roasted and black malt, tons of like roasted, almost charred malt. Coffee. There's like a coffee, almost an acidic vibe to this one, even though they're not using coffee, but it just has that kind of feeling to it. There's molasses. There's the coffee, or the chocolate in here is, like I said, more of like a baker's or like a really 50-60% cacao bar. So it has the chocolate aspect without the overbearing sweetness. But the base to this one, dark cherry as well, like just thinking off the top of my head, what I'm tasting right here. The molasses really didn't carry over. Midway through the palate is where the maple hits. And like I said again, when I talk about unrefined maple syrup, I'm kind of just talking about just, it has the maple character minus the sweetness. And that's kind of what I'm getting with this one. It's kind of like, you're just getting the maple flavor and the sweetness and everything else is coming from the base stout, not the maple itself. It can be looked at and perceived as a good thing or a bad thing. Like I was saying in the nose, more often than not, when I get that unrefined maple in the nose, when I drink it, it is more of a sweeter maple. That is not the case with this one. I don't know if I'd prefer this one now drinking this base Imperial Stout with like a really sweet maple, because I think the base beer is so good and so tasty that I don't think I'd want it covered up with just a shit ton of maple syrup sweetness. I like the nuanced maple character in this one. I like the unrefined maple character, or the perceived unrefined maple character that I'm getting. It finishes semi to full on dry. There is a little bit, there's actually a decent amount, like a moderate amount of bitterness on the back end, slight residual sweetness. 10.1%, I can tell it's a bigger beer. I'm getting a chest warming. I would guess probably 9 to 10%, so it kind of drinks right at the level that it's at, ABV-wise. This is just a really well-made Imperial Stout with nuances of maple syrup for my palate. Yeah, it's a good beer. Probably doesn't live up to the hype in my own mind for it. You know, going back 5+ years ago, I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a world-class, amazing beer. And it still might be for a lot of people out there. Having this one now, you know, after drinking 4,000 plus beers and just, you know, trying a bunch of different maple syrup beers and whatnot, this is, like I said, without a shadow of a doubt, the base of this beer is fantastic. I do enjoy this. I'm kind of stumbling over my words, just kind of pausing because I'm thinking in my mind, would I really want this to be a sweeter maple? Maybe not. You know, like I said, I don't know. I don't think I would. I'd like to see it with like a really sweet maple syrup. But at the end of the day, this is still a really damn good beer. I would highly recommend it to anybody out there wanting to try a Maple Imperial Stout, especially for something from Lawson's. So rating on the Fayston Maple Imperial Stout from Lawson's, I'm going to give it a high 4.25 out of 5 and we'll go 4.35 out of 5. I think the base beer itself is just, again, phenomenal. I don't know how many times I can say that. I really like the base of this beer. I think to kick it up to 4.5, I would want a little bit more maple sweetness, just a little bit. And it would probably get a 4.5. But as is, I mean, a 4.35 out of 5 is a damn good score. This is a damn good beer. And if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Price and availability, I think I paid... It was just under $5 for this can, so it was $4.89 for a 12-ounce can, 10.1% Vermont maple syrup. You guys know, like, authentic maple syrup is expensive. So, you know, under $5 for a can of this, sure. I'd imagine, like, 4 packs of this probably in the, $18, $19 range, somewhere around there. It depends. The price of this one's kind of in the eye of the beholder. If you are somebody that loves Imperial Stouts and you have no... Actually, is this a 4-pack? I can't remember if this was in a 4-pack or a 6-pack. I don't recall. I do think it was 4 packs. I have no idea anymore. All I know is I paid $4.89 for this can. That's all I got. Availability, wherever Lawson's gets distribution, used to be, just in Vermont and very local and hard to get. Now they're all over the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. I see it, in my area, Sip of Sunshine is basically somewhat of a shelfie at this point. This beer, when it showed up here, I grabbed this like 3 or 4 days ago at the time of this review. And they had just cases upon cases just sitting there. And I actually went in the store a couple days after it showed up. So this is not a beer that you have to wait in line for, certainly not in the West New York area. So yeah, if you like Maple Imperial Stouts and you've never had this one before and you can get your hands on it, then give it a go, I would say, for sure. So yeah, Fayston Maple Imperial Stout, 4.35 out of 5. Once again, if you've had this one before, definitely post in the comments and let me know what you think about it. I'm sure quite a few people have had this one over the past 5 or 6 years, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.